Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for Fantastic Four issue 25. And this was a big, beefy issue. I was like, okay, let's kind of see how this works. And they did a pretty good job. This was an interesting kind of launching story where it set up kind of a lot of different things at once while still kind of continuing on from where we've had the fallout of like Empire and everything going on before that. So we are introduced to these two new characters in the beginning, the Cormorant and the Helmsman. And the Helmsman is, for lack of a better word, I'm going to go with a handler on this Cormorant dude, and he's evidently searching the Earth and the cosmos for something specific. We don't learn what that is in this issue, but they're an interesting kind of pairing because they're evidently from a higher plane, as we learn further in the issue. Because this dude's like, I could break this world in two, I could destroy all the stars and everything. Like, wow, you got this. And he like tries to see what he's looking for and blasts into the Baxter building where the Fantastics are. And they're kind of like fucked up but not dead or anything at this point. So it's like, okay. And this is like 4 hours from now, so this is kind of in the future. And then we go back and we kind of see what's going on. We see that the Fantastic Four doing their usual kind of thing. We see that Susan is being tasked with Nick Fury Jr. to go to Latveria, the Latvian embassy in New York, to look into their kind of lockbox. Because evidently there's all these lockboxes and that are really stealth-cased, top secret kind of things that have been looked at throughout the whole entire world. And Fury's like, there's no rhyme or reason to this stuff, but we kind of need to see what's going on with this. So she's like, alright, cool, I kind of got this. We see that everybody's kind of getting their new Fantastic Four uniforms and everything. We see that Valeria has created this kind of like teleporter thing that has all this kind of stuff from the Omniwave projector, the Grievers pods, Krakoan bio-organic kind of stuff going on, but they need a power source to kind of deal with it. And Reed's like, you're smart, you'll figure out something. We see that Franklin is being his kind of moody teenager self, listening to X-Men music and everything, and John's like, I understand it. And it's just like, alright, you're really leaning into the mutant thing, that's kind of cool. Just wanted to say, hey, here's the new Fantastic Four uniform and all that. And we see him more dressed up in the X-Men uniform. It's like, alright, we got it. We'll kind of have to see what's going on. We also see that Ben and Alicia are getting Joe and Nikki ready for bed. Nikki has done extensive research on clicks and everything, while Joe is like, I will crush and dominate school and get grades higher than 4, like 20. And Ben's like, we're going to have to homeschool these kids, aren't we? And I'm like, yep. Granted, socialization is an important aspect, but I mean, I'd actually give the hat more to Nikki being able to figure out Earth stuff more than Joe, because he'd essentially treat school more like a prison than what people would actually want it to be treated like as a prison. He'd be like fucking going after like the big bull day one, knocking people out and being like, I am the top dog. It'd create some issues. Then Nikki would have to fucking deal with him, and then somebody's got to be sent in to do it. It'd be a whole mess. So, like, yes, that is the best kind of thing to deal with that at the moment. So we see that Susan is able to get into the Latvian embassy, but it's around the same time that the Cormorant has popped up, and Doom's like, hey, Sue, yeah, we're watching this dude. I've, like, pretty much set a trap for this dude, and we're not going to deal with anything because there's nothing on this existence, because this dude's, like, from a higher plane that can deal with this damn thing. And he's like going for Doom's box thing, and he's like, you know what? Suck it! And then blows up. It's like, well, okay. And then he goes off to go do his other stuff. It's like, yeah, we kind of have to like get this kind of stuff sorted out. So they pretty much gather everybody, including Franklin, but they leave Valeria, Nikki, and Joe behind because they're like, yeah, we're probably going to need his power. And the thing is that they're pretty much figuring out that they're going for Reed's box because Doom puts that up to Susan. So Susan, of course, calls Reed and be like, hey, there wouldn't be any kind of weird special box that you would have hidden at like any place on Earth that could like destroy the Earth, right? He's like, Earth? No. Universe? Yeah, we're gonna have to assemble a team. And they like get everybody together, and that of course is when they kind of go off. because evidently this is like the Zero container, and they kind of go off towards the Baxter building. Of course, that's when they see the Cormorant blaster. They're like, ah, crap! And of course, he's like messing with the box, and Reed's like, don't open the Zero container. And he's like, yeah, the dude's moving it. He's like, he shouldn't be able to move it. What the hell's going on? What is going on with this thing? And he's like, of course, Ben had gotten like smacked off like a fly through a building, and it was like, he flew far, but he didn't fly too far because he does come back eventually. So they're like, all right, son, do it. And he decides to clobbering time for his for Uncle Ben and starts going toe to toe with him. Doom even acknowledging his greatness and being like, don't diminish that child in any way. I understand that you're afraid, but he's like doing magnificent stuff. But the thing is, he's needed more power to kind of deal with this thing because he runs out. He's like, yeah, you're the only thing that would stand up to me. I'm going to show you some respect. And then, of course, he's about to try and like destroy him. But of course, Susan is able to pop up and do a shield while Reed's able to get him out. And he's like, hey, dude, did a good job, but I need you to get out of here because he's got no power anymore. He even acknowledges, he's like, I can't feel the power anymore. And it's like, oh god. So he tries to get out and tries to go do his own thing of trying to get the mutants. But of course, he tries to go through the Krakoan gate and it doesn't let him. So that means that doesn't even acknowledge him as a mutant anymore to get to Krakoa. It's like, shit, that really fucking sucks, and this is not gonna be good for him. So by that point, Reed had already told Johnny to pretty much go supernova, and they're trying to like pretty much take the crap out of the dude, and none of it's having the desired effect. And he is pretty much getting ready to open the container, and he's like, Sue, make it invisible so we can see what's in it. He's like, oh crap, yeah, this isn't it, but let's open it now. As the helmsman was talking to the Cormorant, and he opens it, and it's like the Zero Force that was like the pre-primordial force before the galaxy. Pretty much, from what we have gathered in this issue, the thing that pretty much starts the Big Bang, kind of like continuing on. So if somebody in a universe by itself before the heat death and everything had probably found and tried to access this force, it would rewrite it into a new universe, which what starts happening as the Cormorant's like, my shit ain't here. So he kind of bugs off like, hey! And the thing is, at this point, Val had already figured out stuff going on for it and was pretty much going to take her teleporter thing to there, but she couldn't drive. So She-Hulk, looking surprisingly normal kind of She-Hulk, because she's, I don't know timeline, well, this should be after Empire where she died and came back, but she's looking very like normal kind of She-Hulk that we've seen before going savage. And in the kind of old school Fantastic Four uniform, and decides to drive Val, Nikki, and Joe over there. And of course, everything's going kind of crazy. Doom and Reed are trying to figure this out, and he's like, you've had that thing for like 10 years and you still didn't figure it out? Yeah, dude, and now I gotta figure it out in like 38 seconds because it's gonna like rewrite everything. But of course, the solution to this problem is to essentially drop another problem on it. So Val is like, toss the damn thing! Of course, Nikki's able to fly them both out, and they pretty much put the teleporter thing on it, and it creates a forever gate. It kind of stabilizes it to the point that the this device requires so much power and energy that it kind of balances out what's going on with this zero energy, and becomes a forever gate that can go to like any space and time. So anything in, well, from what I'm gathering, universal wise, and at least this plane, not completely multiversal, or it could be multiversal. We'll have to see how they kind of explain that. So they've got to stand guard on it. The Fantastics are like, okay, cool, yeah, you can just take the Baxter building back. I mean, shit, the dude fucking dropped $1 billion on us. Have at it! And so they started pretty much doing a guarding thing on what's going on with it. Sue and Reed are able to talk it out. Now, granted, he's like, why didn't you tell me about Fury thing? And she's like, why didn't you tell me about Illuminati thing? Good point, fair point, let's not keep secrets from each other anymore. I'm like, okay, they handled that kind of like adults. Good on it. And that's pretty much set up that way. We see that Ben's like, hey, I'm going to have to relieve them. Doom also tasked Victorious with cleaning up the Latvian embassy and keeping an eye on stuff. So she's going to technically, she's not part of the watch over of the Forever Gate, but I kind of lump her in there. And even though that the Fantastic Four and Doom and his entourage usually have their butting heads because Doom's usually doing kind of stupid shit. I think that they will be like, yeah, we gotta watch this thing and we'll take whatever help kind of can occur with that. So Ben is going to be taking over with what's going on, and he's wondering with Alicia if homeschooling is the best bit for Nikki and Joe because of socialization and everything. I'm like, yeah, of course. She's like, look how the others turned out. Of course, Valeria's like, I want to figure out all this stuff that Dad hasn't figured out yet. Writing and everything and pretty much excited. And of course, Franklin has ripped off all of the mutant stuff that's on his walls and is just really looks depressed, angry, sad, all that kind of stuff. They did a really good job with the artwork in this. I really love this style, but it really gets kind of Franklin's kind of mood just sitting there and just be like, fuck. Because we had seen in the beginning of this issue how it had all this kind of mutant stuff and everything, and now he's like, what do I got? I'm just like one of the support members of the Fantastic Four anymore. I'm not a mutant anymore, so I can't hang out with my mutant friends and everything. And I get it, man. It's going to suck for him, so it'll be interesting to see how he kind of deals with this. Then, that's kind of the wrap-up of what's gone in the Fantastic Four portion of it. Then, at the end, we've got Uatu and Nick Fury Sr. dealing with all this stuff. He's like, how the fuck did you pop out of my head? He's like, pretty much because of those things. If you had seen what was going on with that, it would have fried your little human mind. And I needed to come out because of that. So, he pretty much gives, Fury's talking more like normal Fury at this point. And he's like, alright, here's all the stuff that you missed. He sees everything. He's like, oh, okay. Sees the first war kind of stuff. And evidently the other Watchers are interfering more and more. And that's a thing that Uatu's got to deal with. And that he's going to need a herald for that. And he doesn't want to commute Fury Sr.'s sentence yet, and decides to have him as a herald, as an operative, to do the weird shit that he's going to need to do. So we've kind of got Uatu and Nick Fury Sr. doing some weird shit, like buddy cop kind of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what their stuff's going to do, and how this overarching arc of like the primordial first war and everything going on with the Watchers and this whole kind of ancient tech is going to be going on. I'm like, I kind of like this stuff. This will be kind of interesting to see how it goes down. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.